Hello everybody and welcome back to Madden 2002 in the Buffalo Bills franchise mode. We are continuing on, just getting firmly in to our season. We're kind of getting into the meat of things now. We're getting towards that midway part. We're starting to see a couple of divisional opponents for the second time, as we will see the Colts later on in this video. But today we have the San Diego Chargers, and we're heading all the way up to San Diego to Qualcomm, RIP, to face the San Diego Chargers. Now, the Chargers, unlike some of the other teams on the schedule, most of the teams on the schedule that we've played so far are either coming off of 500 or better seasons or playoff appearances, but the Chargers are not that. The Chargers are coming off their worst season in franchise history, at least by way of winning percentage, going 1-15, trying to lock up, trying to secure the tank, basically, to get Drew Brees. So, and they're not playing him in this. They still have Doug Flutie, so they're rocking with Flutie, at least for the time being. We'll see what happens with Drew Brees, because in these early Madden games, the whole Brees as a starter, then to New Orleans thing doesn't really happen how it should in these old games, because Flutie is still here listed as a starter. So it takes a while for the Madden games to kind of catch up to Brees' career path in real life. So we will not see much of Brees, but he has thrown a little bit in the season so far. Not too much, but it's been mostly the Doug Flutie show, and he has had himself a bit of a head-scratching, confusing type of season. So I'm sure the Chargers are already looking for some help at quarterback, and we are probably in the same exact boat after this season as Trent Dilfer starts things off for us on offense with an interception. That is just his third of the season, which, sounds pretty good, but when you've only thrown 5 touchdowns, it's not as impressive as a stat. Not nearly as impressive as a stat as it sounds like on the surface. So not a great start for Trent Dilfer here. Late in the first quarter, both offenses kind of struggling to get any sort of momentum going. Flutie is going to hand this one off, not to LaDainian Tomlinson, because Tomlinson is nursing an injury right now, but it's Terrell Fletcher, the actual third running back listed on the depth chart. And he has had most of the workload since LT's injury, I would assume, since he's got over 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he's only averaging 2.8 yards a carry. So not much is happening from the running game of San Diego despite LT's injury here. Or because of LT's injury, there's not a whole lot going on production-wise from the running game. But Flutie able to find Freddie Jones, the tight end here, who also has a touchdown on the season. He's been a little bit of help for the San Diego receiving core, and he gets a catch there. Flutie under some pressure here on the run as to make a throw off of his back foot, nearly gets gobbled up by the pressure here, but he finds a way to get that one again to Freddie Jones, who has himself another touchdown on the year, and the Chargers are going to take an early lead. So cut to a 3rd and 3 here for the Bills. We're going to pitch this one off to Morris, shakes off a tackle, but then gets gobbled up by the second defender, but not before picking up a first down. So Moore's has already been a little bit productive today. It hasn't really led to much of anything outside of that play. So now we are finally watching some offensive reps as Dilfer takes a shot towards the end zone on another 3rd down, and that pass is broken up. Beautiful defense from the Chargers secondary here, but that was double coverage. So Dilfer just kind of trying to force that one anywhere he can, because he's trying to get more receiving touchdowns because he doesn't have nearly enough. But bring out Christie for a field goal attempt in the shade, and the kick is good. So we do answer back to San Diego here, but they are still holding on to a 4-point lead. But cut once again to an offensive drive here. We're running the hurry up, under 2 minutes left in the first half, and Dilfer standing from that midfield logo, and he finds an open target inside the 30, and it's Peerless Price with another reception. We're going to continue moving with that tempo, get back up to the line of scrimmage here from about the Chargers' 28-yard line. Clock is ticking away as it gets set now. Dilfer drops back to pass, takes another shot to that same spot on the field, and it's caught once again by Peerless Price. So maybe the connection on the left side of the field is not really working, but on the right side between Peerless Price and Dilfer, they got something going on. But now it's going to be goal to go as we get closer and closer to a minute. Dilfer still not spiking the ball, and that play kind of just falls apart as nobody was really set or prepared for the snap, and he just ends up running it himself. So he's going to get close to about the 1 or 2 yard line, but now it's 2nd and goal. Time gets down to about a minute, and the Bills are going to finally blow a timeout here and stop the clock and at least give themselves a second to breathe and think this one over here, as we're trying to get into the end zone and take a late lead in the first half. And we hand it off to Morris, who's bouncing back and forth, trying to find an opening, trying to find a gap, and eventually does find one to get into the end zone, and that is going to be another touchdown for one of our biggest offensive contributors, getting touchdown number 6 on the year, and getting over 600 yards as well. So he's been the best part of our offense, as if there was any sort of argument about that. So, but now later in the half, the Chargers already go 3 and out, trying to get some points here, retake the lead, and so they give us the ball back, and we have under 30 seconds left to work. But Peerless Price, a nice pickup here, is going to get us a first down. So we're going to call timeout because we're inside the 40 now, and we just maybe another 5 or 10 yards, and we could pretty safely make this one for Christie. But we try to hand off to Morris to maybe center it up a little bit, so it looks like we're going to attempt to try and at least do the field goal from where we're at on the field. So this is quite the long one here. And now with 9 seconds left to go, we blew the timeout. Give Christie plenty of time to start up his routine. The kick is up, and it is good. It looks like it maybe bounced off that off the crossbar, like the back bar of the crossbar, but it still went through. So over 50-plus yarder here, and Christie's been pretty good all season making stuff like that. So 13-7 is now the lead at the end of the half, as we're taking a 7-point lead over the Chargers, who are having a pretty decent start to the year, but they're struggling offensively right now against this Bills defense. And the third quarter comes and goes without much of a sound here. So we're now late in the fourth quarter. The Chargers finally getting something going on offense at all. They've been completely stymied on offense in the second half. There really hasn't been much of anything happening, as Doug Flutie has to take a kind of a check down to Fred McRae, the fullback, who hasn't done much of anything for the Chargers this season. And now running with the hurry up here under 2 minutes. Flutie going to take the snap, steps up in the pocket, and unloads, and he finds an open target. And that pass is going to be completed I thought I had him written down, but I don't. He's further down. He's not one of the Chargers' top 3 receivers, but again, running with the hurry up here in 1st and 10. Flutie not spiking the ball. He's just going to continue to go with it. Pressure in his face, but he gets rid of it in time, and again goes to McRae, the fullback, for another simple check down. And now the clock will stop with 1:15 left to go on 2nd and 2. Flutie's going to drop back here, and again, going to that same spot on the field. It's McRae once again. So the Bills got to adjust here and work with a shallow zone, something, because a touchdown here will give the Chargers the lead. We haven't done nearly enough on offense to kind of safely let the Chargers run down the field here. This is a crunch time, essentially, for our defense, and they're just completely giving up these short passes to McRae, the fullback. So on second goal here, they're going to go with a ground game and try and hand off to Fletcher once again, but Fletcher's got no room to work whatsoever, and now time is running once again. Chargers trying to conserve the timeouts on 3rd and goal here, under 45 seconds left to go. Flutie going to try and throw for it now, and he quickly gets rid of it to Tim Dwight. And finally, the Chargers break through, and our defense was definitely not ready at all. You can see our linebackers kind of just standing flat-footed, not really entirely sure where the ball is going. There was a little bit of an effort, but not nearly enough to try and stop Tim Dwight. And as a result, the Chargers are going to now take a lead here, pending the extra point, of course, a 14-13 point lead. So, and there you see Flutie already getting player of the game honors. And now under a minute, the Bills need to figure something out. 1st and 10. Dilfer, huge shot downfield, and that pass is going to be caught, and with a half step all the way to the end zone, it's going to be a touchdown for the Bills. One play is all it takes after the ensuing kickoff. And Dilfer, why couldn't you do that all season long? Why? Why could you not do that to Eric Moulds all season long? I don't understand. You have to help me out here. So now we're going to try and go for 2 points here and make this lead a little bit more manageable for us. And Remersma has it in the end zone, so we get the 2-point conversion, and it is now a 7-point game once again over the Chargers here, or for the first time. It was always a 6-point lead, but now we have a 7-point lead over the Chargers here, 21-13, or to 14, excuse me. And now the Chargers running out of time on a 3rd down. Flutie not able to connect with his receiver, which is 14 seconds left to go. The Chargers are going to have to go the entire length of the field still and try and make something happen. After finally clawing their way back and playing zero offense all game, they finally are back in this one, and they look like they might let it slip through their hands once again. That's been such a story for this Bills team all season long, us blowing leads and just giving up leads that we've held for a majority of the game, but it looks like the Chargers might give it up now. As on 4th and 10, the pass is completed, but it's well short of the sticks, and now the Chargers are going to be handed their 3rd loss of the season. We're going to grab our 2nd win of the season, and so maybe things might start turning around. Who knows? This was a good effort from this Bills team here to continue to fight on offense and trudge up some production here. I'm really happy with what we did. It was still bad on 3rd down. I mean, there's probably a lot of numbers that aren't all that impressive. Only 3 red zone opportunities for both teams combined. We only have 1, so that's kind of indefensible. The offense really lethargic here. Trent Dilfer, kind of a mixed bag of a game. Nothing really all that great. Completion percentage, again, trending towards the 50% mark rather than the 60% mark. Just not great stuff I'm seeing from Dilfer, man. Just really not. So as critical as we can be here, we know what his role is, and I have to remember that every time I go to talk about Dilfer here. But Sammy Morris, a great contributor here, 16 rushing attempts for over 100 yards, and of course a touchdown. Big help. Sam Coher, again, productive in the defense. I think he's leading the team in tackles every single game, so our West Coast trip is successful as we grab a win against the Chargers. Now we are finally heading back home to Orchard Park, to Ralph Wilson Stadium, and we are welcoming the division opponent in the Colts. who we also grabbed. We were just coming off our second victory, but our first victory of the year comes against these Colts. So we had a pretty big shootout in Indianapolis, back and forth with the Colts. We put up 37 points, which might be a season high. Off the top of my head, I can't remember, but that might be a season high in terms of points, scoring 37 on this Colts defense. And remember, this Colts team was really kind of battling with a ton of injuries at the time as well. Not a ton, but they had two key injuries. They had a receiver who was injured, who was still injured, and then, of course, Peyton Manning is still nursing a knee injury, which has sidelined him for a majority of the season. So he's still out with that injury. So it's going to be Billy Joe Hobart once again at quarterback for the Colts, who's having a pretty amazing season, mind you. Okay, he's got over 1,300 yards. He's got a 10-2 touchdown to INT ratio. He's got a rating over 92. So he's having a pretty decent season as far as our division is concerned. There's not a ton of quarterback play like that you're probably going to see throughout the rest of the AFC East right now. But the Colts have been managing to make do here. They've still been struggling to win games consistently. And, of course, losing a game to us is a huge, huge loss that they really can't afford, depending on what they're trying to do. And this is a huge mistake that they can't afford either. A muffed punt. Everyone is still going for it. It's a dog pile. Someone finally picks it up, and it's Nate Clement who's going to pick it up and take it into the end zone. And the Bills have a scoop and score special teams touchdown to start the game. Just exactly how you planned it. Exactly how you guessed it. If you had money on that bet to start the game, congratulations. Because that's exactly what happened here. But the Colts offense will not be silenced here as they get the ball back, and now Edgerrin James is making us pay for it on the ground as he gets along the sideline. He's bringing a caravan with him, and Jones able to get him by the shoestrings and bring him down. But not before Edgerrin James can make a humongous rushing play happen with his legs here. And he's got over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns as well. He's having a similar type season as Sammy Morris here, but only averaging 4.4 yards a carry. Morris has him well beat in that department here, almost doubling his average on the ground with over 7 yards per carry. But the Colts trying to force this one into the end zone, and Hobart's having a little bit of trouble doing it. So bring out Vanderjagt on 4th and 1 to finish off this drive with just at least 3 points for the Colts, at least get some points on the board, and they do just that. So the Colts do answer back to the special teams blunder here, but they are still finding themselves behind. So what can we do now on offense here on 1st and 10 on our own end of the field here? But Dilfer dropping back to pass here, looks over his options, finds a wide open target here. There was definitely a little bit of a gap here. Dilfer found the gap in the zone. I still think he probably made that decision just a little bit too late, but still an effective play here for the Bills offense here, as we're going to get another look at, as I believe it was Eric Moulds out there. So Dilfer plenty of time here. Probably should have released it about a second or so earlier and hit that gap here, but Eric Moulds still able to jump up, climb the ladder, and come down with the football, so we love to see that. Now we're inside the Colts 35-yard line, as Dilfer once again going through the air, and he finds another open target, and cutting upfield into the end zone, it's another Bills touchdown. And we're going to get another look at this one here as Dilfer, finds this one. It finds Eric Moulds once again, shakes off the tackle. Way to stay inbounds, stay on your feet as well. Eric Moulds, man, great start to this game. We have not seen this kind of connection between Dilfer and Moulds for most of the year. So Eric Moulds finally going to get his 3rd receiving touchdown of the year. And I don't really talk too much about the yardage situation with our receivers because they're not doing that great. If I can be honest with you guys, Eric Moulds is leading the team in receiving yards, but I mean he's only got like a little over 500, 400, I think. Like it's not great. It's really not all that good. So, but now the Colts, Billy Joe Hobart's going to try and answer back here through the air as he finds Marvin Harrison on just a complete prayer of a ball. I have no idea how that play even ended successfully, as Marvin Harrison was just out there somewhere, and I guess that was Billy Joe Hobart's game plan. So 3rd and 7 now. Hobart standing back in a clean pocket, releases one across the middle of the field here, and he finds Diggler, the tight end, and unfortunately he cannot hang on to it. So maybe our 85 is better than their 85. Who knows? That's maybe a hot take in the AFC East this season. But Vanderjagt here going to come out and try and get another 3 points for the Colts offense, and he does just that. So again, points are being answered back and forth here, but the Colts are still struggling on offense to find some consistency as they find themselves down by 8 points here after just 1 quarter of play. So trying to stay in that 500, slightly above 500 range here, and it's just been tough for the Colts. And now we're going to make it a little bit tougher here in the second quarter. Dilfer here fakes the handoff and heads to the other side of the field. And again, I believe, if the sleeves tell me anything, that is Eric Moulds once again, and he's just giving the Colts secondary fits, man, just absolutely giving them problems. And the Colts defense had issues containing our offense in general the first time we played them, so maybe this is just typical for what we can expect between this matchup here. As Dilfer takes the snap here and finds a wide open linebacker, but you guys will not believe this. It's Holacek. Do you guys remember Holacek? Holacek is who we traded to the Colts, man. We moved him to the Colts just to get him off the roster, and now he's picked off Trent Dilfer, man. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy how that works out. So, and now the Colts are going to make us really pay for it as Hobart is able to find an open target downfield, and we're going to get another look at exactly who this was, and it was Reggie Wayne. Okay, it looked like an 83, but I'm like, they do not have an 83. I don't know who that is, but it's Reggie Wayne. It's Reggie Wayne making the catch here, as both him and Harrison have had great seasons thus far under Hobart, who, again, is having a good season. So the Colts are still finding ways to get production. As you can see, Edgerrin James continuing to churn up the yards and get the first down for the Colts. So they're still finding ways to get production on offense, and I think the problem has really probably just been their defense. If our games are any indication of how the Colts season has gone, then the defense has really been the biggest issue. So maybe they'll be able to fix it and correct it, who knows, but hopefully they don't figure it out in this game, as it's 3rd and 10 now, and Hobart finds another open target across the middle of the field, and that catch is going to be made, I believe, by Marvin Harrison once again, and that's another first down for the Colts. Our defense bending on these 3rd downs, man. It's really not working here, but it's another 3rd down. It's 3rd and goal. Can we keep the Colts out of the end zone? Hobart, pressure in his face as he zips that one out of the back of the end zone. He had a couple guys out there, but neither of them could get their hands on the football, and that's going to bring up 4th and goal for the Colts once again. Bring out Vanderjack, who's really been the MVP for the Colts special teams, because clearly the punt returner is not. So the Colts finally add some more points once again, and they're still continuing to churn up the production here on offense. They're still doing it. They just cannot finish these drives. That's the biggest thing. They're struggling to finish, so we got to finish here and get a couple more points if we can. And Eric Moulds once again, baby, along the sidelines, breaks the first tackle, but the second tackle is going to get him, but not before he gets inside the Colts' 35-yard line. And man, there's just no answer for number 80, man. And Mora is completely aghast. I can understand Jamora being really upset about this, because it is just Eric Moulds all day. There's just zero help on that side of the field, and you should not be leaving Eric Moulds in one-on-one coverage, man. In man coverage, you should not be allowing that, because he's just going to keep gashing you. So 2nd and 7 now for the Bills offense. Dilfer back to pass, and he zips it across the middle and finds Moulds once again. And that's going to get us inside the red zone. And there you see the rushing breakdown. I don't even know, or the receiving breakdown. I don't even know if Eric Moulds has had a game like that all year long, man. Like, this is like an absolute great season-high game for him so far. Now, Dilfer going to cap off this drive with a quick pass to the other side of the field. We're going to finally give it to another receiver, and it's Peerless Price. Peerless Price is going to get himself his 3rd touchdown of the season. So now both of our top guys are getting a little bit of production here. And now the Colts finding themselves in quite the bit of a hole. And on 3rd and 10, Hobart running for his life, steps up in the pocket on the run, and double coverage. Somehow that's going to get caught. I have no idea how. Someone's going to have to explain that one to me. I have no idea how that was caught. Like, just makes zero sense. It just makes absolutely no sense. And this is like receiver 4 or 5 for the Colts who makes that catch here. I don't think it was Pollard, the tight end, but just a huge give up, a huge break. Again, we're just bending and breaking on these plays, man. I don't know what the problem is on these 3rd downs. I don't get it. But on 1st and 10 now, still in the first half with a little over a minute left to go, and it's going to be Dilger, the tight end, who makes the catch, but he's shy of the line to gain. So the Colts are going to continue to move with a little bit of purpose here, even though this is not college. The clock will not stop with a first down anyway, so the Colts are going to have to continue to move with under a minute and 10 seconds left to go, and Hobart finds somehow Reggie Wayne in the back of the end zone. I have no idea how. Double coverage, nearly gets his head taken off, but he manages to find Reggie Wayne. Sure, why not? I guess. Sure. But the Colts finally get a touchdown here late in the first half. So after we were able to kind of stifle all their attempts on offense, just they weren't able to finish their drives. They finally find a way to finish a drive here, and it's moving with some tempo. So we might need to put a pin in that. But still with a minute left to go, there's plenty of time for us to do something, and that something is throw an interception. So now Trent Dilfer with his 2nd interception of the game. It looks like whoever the running back was on the field at the time, probably Morris, was able to make the touchdown-saving tackle, but still, the Colts going to be set up primed to get some more points to get themselves back into this ball game, as it's just been a flurry of points here in the second quarter, and now hand off to Edgerrin James, and he's in the end zone for another touchdown, another Colts touchdown, and that's going to be, what, his 6th or 7th touchdown? 6th touchdown of the season. as he's just continuing to produce on the ground here for the Colts. And now we go 3 and out and have to give the ball back to the Colts once again under 20 seconds, and Marvin Harrison has to come back and make the catch, but cuts up field here. And now the Colts letting the time kind of tick away, as they're going to probably be able to send Vanderjagt out and get another 3 points before the half is over. So we just completely give up 10 points to the Colts here in just a matter of like a minute and 10 seconds. Like, just a completely ridiculous stuff here. This is how you lose football games, and you can expect to lose football games when you do stuff like this. So Vanderjagt able to nail a 52-yarder through and give the Colts a few more points just to get them firmly back in this game, and not just back in it, but with that flurry of 10 points at the end, they now take the lead. So 21-26 is now your score here in Orchard Park, and the Bills offense needs to get something heading the other way here. And Dilfer with a huge pass through the air, and there's a flag as a face mask comes in. And Coda, who was injured in our first game, but I guess he's healthy now. The Colts battling injuries everywhere on the field, but Coda, I guess, healthy enough here to grab face masks. So attack on an extra 5 yards on that huge receiving play, but now it's 3rd and 5 quickly. Dilfer pressure in his face, but he manages to find an open target. And that's going to be McDaniel, or McDonald, excuse me. Or McDaniel, I was right the first time. We have a McDonald and McDaniel, I get him confused. But McDaniel able to get that catch for first down, and now we give it to Sammy Morris, and he's going to finish off this drive just safely. We're going to take it out of Trent Dilfer's hands and put it in Sammy Morris's hands as he finds a little bit of open space on the edge. It gets into the end zone for another Bills touchdown, and we retake the lead here, 27-26. And of course, you got to go for 2 here, try and make this a 3-point game. Hand it off to Morris, and he's going to get into the end zone. So now 29-26 is your score. Bit of a weird one. Is that a scoregami? Does anyone know? Is that a scoregami? But the Colts offense has still not settled down since their flurry at the end of the second quarter, as Hobart is able to find Harrison once again, and both of our top receivers in this game are just completely causing issues for the secondary. We can't stop 88, and the Colts cannot stop 80. So, but if they can do it a little bit faster than we can do it, then they might win the game. That's how you win these kind of games. So Hobart's going to hand this one off to James, and again, man, just nobody's standing up to try and block this play, dude. Absolutely nothing is happening stopping that run game, and Edgerrin James going to get himself his 2nd touchdown of the day. That's 7 on the season, as the Colts are just finding ways. They did this in the first meeting too. In the second half of the game, they really just found ways to kind of get that production churning from a lot of their skill position players, a lot of their top contributors, and it looks like we're starting to see some of that again here. But bring out Vanderjagt for another field goal attempt, as we finally do stop them on a 3rd down, and on 4th and 1, Vanderjagt, kind of a weird kick, but it is good. So the Colts again add another 10 points in a very short amount of time here from what we've been watching. So 36-29 is now your score at the end of the 3rd quarter, and we are fighting once again to regain this lead here, man. We had it, we gave it up, but at least we gave it up earlier in the game. So we need to get ourselves back into this, and another back-and-forth shootout with the Colts. So, and Dilfer, it's somehow in double coverage, Eric Moulds is just continuing to do what he does, man. So the Colts have not found a way to silence him completely quite yet. So there's still a little bit of hope for us yet, as Eric Moulds makes the catch in double coverage. So on 3rd and 16, though, heading the other way, heading the wrong direction, Dilfer takes all day to make a decision, and he finally makes one, and it is a terrible decision as he settles for his check down to Bryson, the 3rd-string running back, and that's absolutely going nowhere. So on 4th and 12, bring out Christie for a field goal, because I guess you do need it at some point. I don't know. I don't really think you do. A touchdown's really kind of beneficial here, especially going for it on 4th down where we were at on the field, but we take the 3 points. So 32-36 is now your score, and the Colts are in kill clock mode here. They can play keep away and kind of end this game effectively if they can just play smart and keep giving this one to Edgerrin James. And on 4th down, or we stop Edgerrin James, though. On 4th down, they bring up Vanderjagt again, and Vanderjagt doinks this one. So we have a new lease on life here. So they could have got the first down and continued to kill the clock, as I was saying, but the stop allowed Vanderjagt at least to get another kick at it. And hey, when you take 6 attempts, you're bound to miss one of them, right? I mean, from that far, you're bound to miss one. So thanks to the doink, we now have a new lease on life here, but after this first down play here, there's a holding call on Heimberger, the lineman here, and that is going to completely kind of stifle this drive. So now it's 3rd and 19 on the other end of the field here. Dilfer, under pressure, has to get rid of it quickly here, and that pass is just off the mark and cannot bring it in. Bryson cannot bring it in. Or I think it might be Larry Centers, the fullback, cannot bring it in. So on 4th and 19, we have to go for it again. This is potentially the end of the game if we can't get it back. And Dilfer throws for it. and finds Eric Moulds on the other side of the field. He's typically on the left side. This time he was on the right side of the field making the catch, but he's still going to get brought down shy of the line to gain, and that's going to be a turnover on down. So on 2nd and 5, if we can stop the Colts here, we can get the football back, and Edgerrin James is going to get the first down, and that's essentially going to be victory formation for the Colts offense here, as they're going to hold on to this kind of weird, awkward 4-point lead over us, 36-32, and that's got to be scoregami. I mean, it's got to be. That's got to be scoregami. So the Colts get their 4th win of the season and get back up to 500. They think if they can kind of manage and win a few games here or there, hang around 500 until Peyton Manning is healthy towards the end of the season, they might be able to sneak back in to the playoffs. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. I don't have high hopes for them, but we'll keep an eye on it. So the big difference in this game, obviously, I mean, the Colts were more potent on offense regardless, but they did run the football a lot better than we did, which I think is kind of the big difference. Kind of weird when you consider, again, like I said earlier in the video, Sammy Morris was having, a bit more efficient of a season than Edgerrin James was, but they're both having pretty similar seasons in terms of overall production, so we can't be super shocked or anything, but the Colts were just a little bit more productive on offense. We slowed down a lot in the second half, which cannot happen in these games with the Colts that are just bona fide shootouts, just guaranteed to be shootouts. So Trent Dilfer with another very mixed bag of a game. Just completion percentage, he's just not accurate on his throws, just really not getting it up there. The 2 interceptions was also just gaudy. I mean, you just can't really have that. But every game, I'm just critiquing, and I tell you guys, like basically talking to myself to remind myself what Dilfer's role is, but you just expect more. I guess you just expect more. So that's going to take us further into more division play here, as we're finally going to play the Patriots for the first time this season, heading all the way to New England to play the Patriots. So we're just going to continue moving right on ahead. So hope to see you guys in the next video here when we continue on with the Patriots.